Is 6:45. This is the date and time prescribed for the public taxation hearing, which we are required to do every year. And I will turn it over to Mary Beth Rogers, our Executive Director of Business Services, who will run us through the PowerPoint presentation. Ms. Rogers?
Yes. This is our annual required public taxation hearing. As our operating mills are 18 mills, and then we did again have another 0% rollback, which is great. So our original millage was May 5th, 2015, and it was right now it's just over 18 mills. And then we approved a second one on 3/10, an additional mill of 7.79, and we did that in case we got below the 18 mills before we had to renew in 25. But the last couple years we've had 0 rollback, so that's helped. So, but we still did it just in case, and you can see we've gotten really close. All of this is up for renewal on 12/31/2015. So we're going to need to get this fully renewed by December 31st, 25. We currently have debt 7 mills. And there's our 2024 taxable value, and then our 2023 taxable value. And our taxable value increase was 7.6%. So we really have had some large taxable value increases the last, I'd say, 4 years? And then this is just wanted to show you kind of what we've been doing with our debt mills and the savings that we've been getting on our 7 mills debt that we've been borrowing over the years. We've had 11 refundings, and those are all the years of the refundings. And through all these refundings, we've had a net savings of almost 19 million, and then an estimated interest cost avoidance of over 11 million, with a net savings of estimated at about 30.5 million. So our district has been very fiscally responsible and very aggressive at going after every opportunity we can to refund and save in interest. And then we were able to reduce the school bond loan fund for about 11 years. Our present value savings as a refunded loan is 5.71%. And then the last 2 years, with interest rates for like short-term investments, CDs and securities and treasury notes, have been very, they've been like over 5%. So I was able, while we're waiting for the November payment, and then we don't have to make another debt payment till May, I've been taking that money that's been sitting in our bank account, and I've investing it in treasury notes. And in 23, we were able to get the debt another 351,000, and then this year we're able to. I'm going to estimate it about 424 by the end of this year that I've been able to invest in our money we're collecting before we have to pay the debt payment. Then I just have it come due right before we have to make the debt payment in May and November. So. And then that's just a graph of our taxable value, and you can see how it just keeps going up. Yeah, we really did a dip. I remember those years. I've been through all of this, and I remember it going way down, and then it's been climbing lately. So, do I have any questions on the presentation? Okay, so that is our public hearing. Thank you.
It's 7 o'clock. We will call to order the regular meeting of the Clarkston Community Schools Board of Education. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. McLean, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Crane? Here. Mrs. Sivers? Here. Mrs. Egan? Mrs. McGinnis? Here. Mrs. Love? Here. Mr. Heyer?
Here.
Mr. Need?
Here. We have a quorum. Mrs. Egan apologizes. She had a work commitment tonight and was unable to join us. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not to be considered a community public hearing. There is a time for public participation during the meeting in agenda items 3 and 9. Item 2 is approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion, please? Not all at once.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Motion's been supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 3 is the first opportunity for citizens to address the board. You are given 2 opportunities to address the board. Under this item, item 3.1, you can ask to address the board on any topic on tonight's agenda, which is displayed behind me. And then under item 9, you are welcome to address the board on any topic. When making comments, please state your name and address. Address your comments here to the board president. Each person may speak for up to 2 minutes. And per established board procedures, the board will not respond to questions or interact with the speaker during public comment, although we may refer the matter to the administration for follow-up. So under item 3.1, there is a sign-up sheet at the side of the room. Mrs. Mahoney, is there anybody? Okay, nobody asked to address the board on an agenda topic. And again, under item 9, if you wish to address the board on any topic, feel free to fill out the form at any point before item 9 tonight. Item 4 is our superintendent update. Dr. Ryan.
Thank you, President Meade. First update, it looks like we have a rather large deer right to the stage right, grazing. It's earlier this week, the community should know that we had a coyote running through the back aisles here. So it's exciting national preserve that we had off the board office. So good evening, community. Thank you for coming tonight. We usually don't get this kind of packed house for the shows, and tonight we have an exciting one. I'd like to welcome all of our teachers and their families here receiving tenure tonight. It's an awesome achievement, and we're so proud of our teachers as they kind of progress through their careers here at Clarkston. We also have Winter Guard. Winter Guard, raise your hands up. Make some noise there. Thank you, guys. We're going to be celebrating them and their achievement tonight. I won't let the cat out of the bag because then it's like, why stay for the whole show, right? But we're happy to have them and their families here supporting and be able to present them to our community. It's an exciting time. We also have our youth assistance group here going to share some updates with our community and our board. And overall, it's going to be a great night. We're also looking at finalizing some of the plans for our new junior high school and improving some of the bid packages, or actually the lion's share of them. That you'll see that rise from the back area off of Walden Road over the next couple of years. It's starting here tonight, and we're going to be breaking ground in a week. And I hope the community can come out when we have those ceremonial shovels. I don't know how much work we're actually going to get done for OC, but it'll be a good time. We're going to have some of the kids celebrating us that will be the first class to be going through the halls of that building. Additionally, looking at this week, it's the last week for our seniors, both at Clarkston High School and and Renaissance High School, and they're going to be doing their clap out and walk out ceremonies this Friday. So literally days left as they wind down their exams. We're so excited and proud of them as they make their final march towards Pine Knob Music Theater, coming up for the graduation here in a couple weeks for Clarkston. We have a lot going on tomorrow. I invite everybody to come out and see the Bailey House out there on Sashabaw Road, the historical house that our construction tech kids rebuilt literally from the studs up. They're having an open house to showcase and celebrate their work. And the word on the block, there's going to be a lot of free hot dogs there. So please, if you want to have a family night out, bring the kids. It'll be a good time. Also, a little bit tugging at the hearts this week, Mike Peterson, who I literally hired into Clarkston Schools many years ago, he's our choir teacher, will be having his farewell performance this Sunday at 3 p.m. at Clarkston High School. I invite everybody to come out and cheer him on. He's done an incredible service to this community and really brought the level of choir and our musicals and everything he's touched up to a higher level. So we're going to be very, very sorry to see him retire, but we get one last shot at hearing some of his awesome work that he does with kids every single day. Additionally, spring concerts, I want to make sure everybody gets those on their calendars. Our kids are going to be showcasing their talents and all the hard work they put in over these last couple of months. And we also have the Clarkston Foundation Teacher of the Year, where the teacher receives a car, which is awesome, here on Thursday, May 23rd. I want to invite everybody to come out. And we have our Senior Scholar Breakfast here coming up on Tuesday on the 28th. So with graduations and celebrations and our sports seasons winding down, I know I can speak for our entire staff, our teachers and our bus drivers and everybody affiliated and associated with Clarkston Schools and our Board of Education. We're super excited to celebrate the accomplishments and wind down a school year, and a great school year it has been. So thank you, President Need.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan. Item 5.1, the first of our two presentation items, as Dr. Ryan just mentioned, is recognition of the Clarkston High School Winter Guard team and Mr. Mike Lewis.
Mike Lewis, everybody.
First of all, I'd like to invite all the members of the Winter Guard and staff that are here this evening. If you guys could come on up front here on the side, that would be awesome. I would just like to take the opportunity to congratulate this group of individuals. The amount of work that they put in over the course of about a 5-month season is amazing. The hours, sweat, tears, you name it, through their practices. The level of dedication of this group has been amazing. And I would also like to thank the staff members that are here tonight. In the back we have Mr. Ivan Manning. Jessica Butala is back there as well. And Katerina Bader. These three individuals kind of take the lead on designing the show, teaching all the guard work to the students and that, and spending many hours working with them to develop their skills. And a lot of that kind of came off in the performance that they had this year as well. And I would like to kind of get out of the way here for a minute and invite up Miss Anna George to talk about the season briefly.
I would like to thank the board for having us and for recognizing us in our achievements. And I would like to thank our staff and all of the music wing and everything for a really great season. We had a great time. We made some great bonds. And overall, just a great season. Yeah.
We do have a small token of appreciation for you, so thank you very much.
Congratulations. Well done. Great job. Well done. Awesome. Congratulations. Awesome, guys. Congratulations.
Great work. Great work.
Congratulations. Awesome job. Well done. You guys made us so proud. Thank you.
Great work.
Nice job. Thank you.
Great work.
Oh, you got it. Congratulations. Well done. Mr. Lewis?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job. The Winter Guard is another source of pride for Clarkston Community Schools, and we really appreciate all the hard work. I know what Mr. Lewis just said, and we recognize the many, many hours that goes into your preparation and your performances. So thank you very much for all your hard work. We are proud of you, and hope you have a great summer. So,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Ryan.
Thank you. And I just want to echo that. Great job, guys. Well done.
Our second presentation item is a program update for Clarkston Area Youth Assistance. Dr. Ryan.
Yeah, I have to say, Clarkston Area Youth Assistance is a co-op with our greater community in courts to help support the kids of Clarkston, both in times of need and a step up and a hand up and a really push sometimes. And I want to give a heartfelt thanks to all that Kaya does for our schools and for our community. And let's see, we're going to hear an update. And also for our crowd this evening, knowing that we're going to have this presentation, and then we're going to have our teacher tenure coming shortly after that, and then we're going to take a recess. And I know that you all have busy nights, and President Need will then provide a recess for you to make an exit. So,
Although if you want to stay for the rest of the fascinating agenda, please feel free.
just in case anybody's explaining their escape.
Thank you. I'm Jan Sislowitz. I'm the chair of Clarkston Area Youth Assistance, and we try to check in once a year with the school board and give them an update. We also have an annual meeting here once a year where we give quite an update for what we've done the year before. We'd like to thank the school board and Clarkston Community Schools for all of their support and making the work that we do possible. I have just some information from July of last year through April of this year of what we've been able to do, some of the things we've been able to do to help youth and the families in this area. Our skill building grants have allowed 33 kids from July to April to attend activities such as swim and voice lessons, lacrosse, chess club, dance prep team, track and field, McGrath basketball, driver's training, etc. And these are to people who would not be able to afford to do those things. Summer camp, it's just coincidental that 33 kids went to summer camp also. That's just, yeah, it's kind of funny. They went to a variety of camps such as Clintonwood, Bay Court, Nakonic, which is an overnight camp, and Howell Nature Center, which is also an overnight camp, and Clintonwood Discovery Day camps. The Homework Club has been in a transition since COVID. We lost a lot of volunteers just because they didn't come back. And so I have a meeting tomorrow with Jody Yellowshin at Pine Knob Elementary talking about an in-school mentorship type program for the same kids that we worked with at during the Homework Club, and see if we can, we're just going to brainstorm and see what we can do. We have funding from ARPA to be able to put something together for that. Let's see, and it will have an SEL focus, social emotional learning. Family education, we had a 3-part series. Were they all held in this? All 3 were. I couldn't make it to one of them or 2 of them, I think. Family education series, it was raising resilient kids, helping kids and teens handle stress, and rising from challenges. Family education also has a Girls Stand Strong program and Power of Choice. If you need any additional information on those programs, Lauren would have that. She's part of that committee. I am not. Youth recognition, we had 71 honorees this year and a wonderful dessert reception following that. Pinwheels for prevention, if you've seen the pinwheels around, reminding people that kids should feel loved, safe, and secure. As a Kaya participant, I'm just recently involved in putting together a resource database, working with CIDL, our library, for the community. And what we're doing is putting resources for all sorts of things, mental health, clothing, food. We're trying to cover as many categories as we can. The difficulty there is finding resources that we know if someone calls, you will get something done. So we're trying to filter through what we have. That's basically our update, and I would like to give the mic to Lauren. She has a few things to say. She's our caseworker.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. It's so good to see you all. As Jan mentioned, I'm Lauren Kloss. I'm the caseworker with Clarkston Area Youth Assistance. I'm actually going on my 9th year in this office, which is pretty incredible. So it's nice to be here for a long time and continue these relationships. So with casework updates this past year, looking at from July through really currently, I've had 69 new referrals come in. More than half have been for school incorrigibility. A lot have been for substance use, unfortunately. Some other referrals for school incorrigibility have just been general behaviors, fighting, threats, and some racial comments. And then other referral reasons that have come through my desk have been for truancy, home incorrigibility, prevention, and then I've had a handful of diversions, so that's coming from the court, from the prosecutor, or from police, so avoiding the formal court process and coming to me instead. And those have included things like trespassing, school threats, fighting, like assault and battery, retail fraud, and taking a vehicle without permission. As far as the school referrals, majority have come from the junior high this year, followed by the middle school, then the high school, and then just a handful from the elementaries and from Renaissance. And I can say that about 75% of those new referrals have engaged in services, which is fantastic. So it's kept me very busy, but for a good reason, right? These families need support, and I'm happy to be there for them. Since September, I've received anywhere from 5 up to 14 referrals in a month. Usually it's around 5 to 7 new referrals come in. So there's just been some months that have been much more than that. And then I've had 86 closures over the last year. And of those closures, the success rate has been about 73%. So almost 3/4 of the caseload that's closing, they're completing goals, which is almost half of them, or they're at least making progress on their goals. So that's really good news. And then there's always a handful that don't respond, or they decline, or they're, they moved or went into the formal court system, something like that. On average, I've had my caseload with open cases has been around 69 in any given month. It's ranged from 59 up to 87. So again, just kind of reflecting the busyness of the office. And then some trends. So some common things that I've been seeing this year, been working on with families, include parent support, connecting with resources, giving them support with parenting ideas or strategies. One class I've recommended to a lot of parents is called the Parent Project, and it's actually offered through Children's Village, but it's open to anybody, and I've had some parents go through that. It's designed for parents who have teens with challenging behaviors, and the parents that have gone through said it's been life-changing, it's been super helpful, they've received so many good tips and strategies, and even a little bit of a support group too. So that's really positive. Been working with kids on different skills, like with decision making and coping, anger management, friendship and peer issues, peer influences, self-esteem, of course, substance use. Like I said, that's been a very common trend on my caseload with vaping, marijuana especially, and alcohol. So dealing with a lot of those issues. Some inappropriate phone use and boundaries with that. There's definitely been issues with threats, mental health concerns, and those diversion cases. So working on accountability assignments, helping kids learn from those mistakes so that they don't end up in that formal court system or back at the principal's office or something like that. And of course, there's lots of kids I work with and families I work with that aren't at risk of formal court involvement, but they just need support getting through whatever life is throwing at them. So, doing some advocacy work, again, giving that support that they need. And also some success stories too. I keep talking about the substance use issues I'm seeing. Thankfully, I've seen a lot of kids make some really positive turnarounds with those. A lot of times when they come in and it's a concern with marijuana use or something, we do a lot on education. They do a research project. They might attend the Power of Choice class, which is all about educating them on the risks. They might watch some videos on learning about those risks or real life, kind of reality checks on things, and a lot of times kids are making that turnaround. There's still some that struggle, but there are many who, even after 6 months, I'm looking at a totally different kid. So it's just encouraging to see things working, things going well, and happy to be here for the district and for these families. And then one other little quick update on our office. We've had a new office secretary join us, Jerry Snudden. You might have seen her or encountered her. She's been with us since September, and so she's wonderful and fantastic, and she'll hopefully stick with us for a while. So anyway, thank you so much for having us here tonight. I did bring annual reports from our last year. I think most of you should have gotten these, but if not, let me know and I can hand them to you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving on to the action items for our agenda, item 6.1 is approval of personnel changes. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the personnel changes as listed on the attached sheet.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.2.
Thank you for the approval. I would like to call up Jordan Stoyak. He was just recently approved as our new assistant principal.
Absolutely.
For Sashbaugh Middle School. Jordan, if you'd like to come up. Jordan's been the dean of students there for a number of years. This past year, the principal at Sashbaugh Middle School unfortunately had to take a number of leaves of absences throughout the year for different things, and Jordan really stepped up, and he really provided leadership to that building when Clarkston Community Schools needed it. So we're very excited to congratulate Jordan in his new role as assistant principal.
Thank you very much. 2 years ago when I accepted the job as dean, I didn't prepare anything to say, and John Bennett came up here and had a speech to give. So I thought I'd prepare some notes today so I didn't forget anything. Thank you to the board and Dr. Ryan and the Clarkston administration for this opportunity for me to continue to serve our students and our staff and our community of SMS. It's truly a special place that I've grown to love over the past couple of years, and I'm very excited to continue this leadership role and continue to be in this capacity at SMS. I want to thank Liz Walker and Nicole Tarasco. They've been amazing mentors for me these past 2 years and have really guided me as I've grown in my leadership role. I want to thank my wife. She's also an educator here in Clarkston, and my parents for their ongoing support and love in my life. I grew up in Clarkston. I graduated in 2008, and I got a job at CHS about 10 years ago as a special education teacher. I always knew I wanted to be a leader. I just didn't know in what capacity or on where my journey would go with that, and it's led me here, and I'm just incredibly honored to be able to serve in a community that I call home and continue to serve in this capacity. So thank you. It's something I'm very excited about, and it's very special to me. So thank you.
Congratulations, Jordan, and well done. It's a good thing you had the opportunity to speak this time. Now, item 6.2, the reason why many of us are here tonight, the approval to grant tenure. Dr. Ryan or Mr. Lucido?
I'll turn to Mr. Lucido. This is such a special time in Clarkston. Not all districts have it as part of a board meeting or a ceremony officially welcoming and granting tenure, and I think it's a really special thing in Clarkston. I remember myself and Mr. Call, principal of Clarkston High School in the back, years ago, him and I standing up and taking the oath and being part of the tenure ceremony together, and it was a great memory. So, Mr. Lucido, carry on.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Ryan. And thank you to the families of our tenure recipients who made it here tonight to share in this special event. What I would like to do is call the tenure recipient up. Teresa Brown has a letter granting the tenure that will happen at the end of the school year. I'm just going to ask that you line up here to take the oath and your approval. So Rachel Klingerman, Clarkston Junior High School. Sarah Cox, Sashbaugh Middle School. Susan Dubeck, Renaissance High School and Clarkston Junior High School. Juliana Fenton, Sashabaw Middle School. Brooke Hargett, Renaissance High School. Aaron Horger, Clarkston Junior High School. Scott Humphrey, Renaissance High School. Kelly Leland, Clarkston Junior High School. Michelle Miller, Renaissance High School. Amy Morris, Andersonville Elementary. Kelly Perrin, Clarkston Elementary. Edna Sauve, Renaissance High School. And Caitlin Witt, Bailey Lake Elementary.
The way the process works, in a moment I'm going to administer the oath, after which the board will take action to actually approve tenure. But before I read the pre-described stuff from the Department of Education, I would like to just make a couple of comments. On behalf of the Board of Education, congratulations on what is a great accomplishment. We know that teaching is a tough job these days, tougher than ever, and it's not easy. We may not say it enough as a board, but we are incredibly proud of our teaching staff and all our staff here in Clarkston Community Schools. We're proud of the teaching staff we have. We want the very best teachers here in Clarkston. Our kids deserve that. We know that you all have the passion and the love of teaching to do that. On opening day, I talked about how special Clarkston is, and the fact that many of our administrators and teaching staff arrive in Clarkston and then stay for their entire professional careers, like Dr. Ryan. And you heard from Jordan a few minutes ago as to how long he's been in the school district. You're standing here today as another step of what we really hope will be a lifelong commitment to Clarkston Community Schools. We have a culture here in Clarkston. We have a vision statement, we have a mission statement, we have a strategic plan. But without you guys, they're just words on a piece of paper. What you do is important, the impact you have is profound. So when you go to work tomorrow as a tenured teacher, know that we as a board, we're proud of you, we're grateful to have you, and we're going to do our very best to give you the tools you need to succeed. So thank you. And now from the Michigan Department of Education, our society has charged public education with trust and responsibility that requires the professional educators the highest ideals and quality service. The Michigan State Board of Education has adopted the following code of ethics to articulate the ethical standards to which professional educators are expected to adhere in their job performance. Number 1, service towards common good. The professional educator's primary goal is to support the growth and development of all learners for the purpose of creating and sustaining an informed citizenry in a democratic society. Number 2, mutual respect. Professional educators respect the inherent dignity and worth of each individual. Third, equity. Professional educators advocate the practice of equity. The professional educator advocates for equal access to educational opportunities for each individual. Fourth, diversity. Professional educators promote cross-cultural awareness by honoring and valuing individual differences and supporting the strengths of all individuals to ensure that instruction reflects the realities and diversity of the world. And finally, 5, truth and honesty. Professional educators uphold personal and professional integrity and behave in a trustworthy manner. They adhere to acceptable social practices, current state law, state and national student assessment guidelines, and exercise sound professional judgment. And I'm asking our teachers to reaffirm their commitment to the oath of office of teacher. So if you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of teacher according to the best of my ability. Congratulations. Sure, but why don't we, when do we do our official action, just to make sure, so I don't forget, among other things. So could I have a motion, please, on approval of teacher tenure for these candidates?
I move that the Board of Education approves the granting of tenure to the teachers as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, congratulations.
Charged with lots of words that should. I'm completely hidden. Just hold still.
Okay, at this time, we will take a brief 5-minute recess. Again, you are more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but if not, we certainly understand. So if we don't see you tonight or any more tonight, have a great evening. Have a great summer if I don't see you. convening the meeting. The next action item, item 6.3, approval of the custodial contract and the paraeducators contract. May I have a motion, please?
I'm going to do these one at a time, President, even because they're listed as two, even though they're on one bar here.
We can
Custodians.
do
and
them
para.
separately if you'd like.
Okay. I move that the Board of Education approves the contracts with the Clarkston Custodial Association as presented.
Motion made and supported. Any questions or discussion on the custodian contract? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And now the paraeducators contract.
I move that the Board of Education approves the contracts for the Clarkston Paraeducator Association as presented.
Motion made and supported. Any questions or discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.4, approval of curriculum proposals. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the curriculum and resource proposals for elementary puberty, CTE Tech Tools, CTE Media Production, AP Government, French 2, German 3, Heritage Spanish B, ELA 9, and Japanese 1 for a total amount of $58,648.40 as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported. As the BAR noted, all these proposals have gone through our TLC process and are now before us for adoption and purchase. Mrs. Mahoney is here if there are any questions. Anyone have any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carried. Next is item 6.5.1, the approval of the bid package number 3 for the new Clarkston Junior High School. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approve the contracts listed in bid package 3 for the new Clarkston Junior High School in the amount of $71,926,100.77 and allowances and contingencies of $4,968,712 for a total recommendation of $76,894,812.77.
Support.
Motion made and supported. And this is the bulk of the work for the new junior high. Mr. Goodman is here. We have a representative from AUK here. If anyone, any board member has any questions. Mrs. Love?
I don't have a question, but do our representatives want to talk about it, just since it's a lot of money and, just to assure the public that we did our due diligence with it? Steve or Stephanie?
Sure. Mr. Goodman, could you perhaps give the board a summary of the bid process and how we arrived at the recommendations that were made for this evening?
Yes, so this was the biggest of the 3 bid packages, of course. So in the kind of the bid process, we advertise in the local paper, we advertise on Bid for Michigan, which gets a lot of traction throughout the state, and then we do that also on our website, and then AUK has a big net of contractors that they typically work with, so they share the bid specifications with them as well. When we take bids, that's always they're sealed bids. We took bids here, and 2 different times we had for this bid package, we had a bid due in April, and then we had another one May 1st. April was the largest of the bidders. Today, with Zoom, many bidders watch live, where in the past we'd have a room full of, we could fill this room with bidders, and then they wait. But we still, even when they're on Zoom, it's all done. I don't know if there's a certain program that you use, Danielle, But it all proves that we haven't opened anything early and there's a time. So typically bids are due at noon, then we put them all in order, and then at 2 o'clock we read those aloud. We were very happy with the bid turnouts. We had a lot of bidders per category. And then from there, they're all brought in. The low bid and typically the second bidder are brought in for an interview to go through everything within the bid specifications for their category and verify and vet that they've met what was our intent. Worst thing we'd want is a bidder, we're excited by a low bid number, but then to find out that they missed something, and we're out in the construction world and they missed a whole wing of a building or something like that. So through that process, we sometimes can go with the low bid. We call it the lowest responsible bid because you have to have everything that we requested to be the lowest bid. Lowest qualified, lowest bidder. And then once we vet all that, then we come here to you. So that's a long process. We didn't always go with the lowest bid just because many times we find out they haven't had a lot of AUK hasn't used them before, so that's always a nervousness because AUK's been around 100 years. They've used a lot of vendors and contractors throughout their company, and then we like to have people that have experience with schoolwork to know what is expected to work around kids, to work in this environment. It's a little different. So if you're used to building a church out in a field, it's a lot different working in a school that has kids coming in and out all the time. And we're going to have problems. In construction, it just happens. The truck will show up for a delivery the same time that the parents are leaving. Even though we'll request everybody to come at those off hours, they'll show up, but we'll deal with that. But anyway, there's a lot of work that goes with before we bring a recommendation to you, and hopefully that answers a lot of your questions. But it is many, many hours before we come to you.
And if anybody is interested from the public, the board packet for tonight's meeting, which is available online, has about 50 pages of materials that show each of the various components that we're approving tonight, the bids that were received, and in those cases where the low bid wasn't automatically approved, the rationale for that. Sometimes alternatives had been agreed upon by the AUK and the district that allowed for a different lower bid. So all that information is available.
Yeah, and I'm probably missing some of the things like their accountants for AUK. They look at the financials from every contractor, make sure they're going to be around when the work starts, that they're going to be able to stay in business, as well as I don't know if you want to hit me with anything else, Danielle, I might be missing. Yeah, come on up. But those are important things that they're doing for us at AUK.
Yeah, so especially with this recommendation and the size of the contracts that we're awarding to individual contractors, we go through and our CFO reviews all the qualification information, which includes financials, insurance, bonding capacities, so on and so forth, to make sure that, like Wes said, that these contractors are going to be around in 4 years when we need them, and make sure that they have the capacity to perform the work. Some of the questions that I'm looking for in interviewing, which this particular recommendation took about 3 weeks to process and interview the subcontractors in order to make this recommendation. So some of the things that I'm looking for, what their manpower looks like, how many men they have on staff, how many people, we can't say men anymore, how many people they have on staff to, perform the work and, get the work done, and what their approach is to a lot of these things, especially with, again, this particular project being phased over several years, and just making sure that the contractors have that understanding of what we're dealing with and working around the school that is going to be occupied and keeping the services up and running for the occupancy of the junior high.
I'd like to add just a couple things, President Heat, on this that I've been impressed because I'm not in that sandbox from day to day, and over the last couple of weeks reviewing the nitty-gritty with Mr. Goodman and seeing the work that AUK and GMB and the preparation. This is obviously the first building I've been part of in Clarkston and the first building that we've built in a very long time. And the things I've been consistently impressed with is that notion of like holistic view of project completion, not only in a time frame, but a dollar amount, and having it all bid together in a way that all the parts move together. So you're not having all these multiple subcontractors all trying to merge their work together, which makes me nervous just even having work done at my home with multiple contractors. So if you look at that thoughtfulness, and really what I've come to understand, at least in the process, some of it, is the thoroughness and experience of our team here. But I also want to tell our community that Clarkston really thread the needle when it came to the timing of the passage of our bond at a low interest rate period where costs and inflation was very much spiraling, and it has over the last several years. I know we all follow the business reports and the economic news saying that inflation is still there and we have to be guarded. But honestly, what I've seen, at least from the bids and going over and reviewing the packages, that there has been, at least in the construction field, an abatement looking at long-term where the attractiveness of the projects that Clarkston is offering over the period of years has really attracted some really strong bids. And that could have been, when you have an environment where there's 3 or 4 different jobs that a contractor could look at, and they can all look, bid whatever, because they can look at it just, they have plenty of work. It's starting to tighten up again. And that's really, really good for Clarkston schools, because at the end of the day, what I found that I was most impressed that we came in on time, at least for the bids that we looked at and what needed to be completed of the work, and on and under budget. And that, as a school district, as a business person, and as a superintendent, made me extraordinarily happy. I'm also very impressed with the ideas that as they looked in a multi-year project like they are here, that it's not just a contractor bidding it for 3 years from now with the expectation that it's going to be the same world. They added in and made sure that any type of inflationary accelerators were actually added into the bid so that you would not be in a position in a couple years where one of our contracts is not fulfilled because they simply can't do it based on the new economic times. Looking at everything that had been done and the thought that was put into us, I was extremely impressed, and I feel very confident, excited for the work for our community, right down to some of the leadership at AUK, Sean Verlinden, who's not here tonight. Again, Clarkston grad, somebody who's been through, cares deeply about this community, and his mom worked here for 30 plus years. It's very much a family affair of people investment that really care about this place. So I want to thank the entire team. Hopefully it helps kind of shine some different lights on it and get an opportunity to kind of put forth the work that you guys did, which has been excellent.
No, I agree. So thank you, Mr. Goodman. Thanks to AUK. Thanks to GMB. I think we do have just some we have an excellent director, obviously, and we have excellent professionals that we're working with, and we do appreciate your efforts as well. As Dr. Ryan said, on time, within budget, so what more can he ask?
That's the plan. We're sticking to it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We're very excited to get this started also. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item 6.5.2, approval of various classroom furnishings. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approve furniture purchases to the following vendors as presented. KI, $14,071.68. Great Lakes Furniture Supply, $25,212.60. Custer, $26,896.47. Interior Environments, $52,232.84. Do L Core, $42,787.08. ISCG, $4,343.56. plus an anticipated freight and installation cost of $16,554.42 for a total of $182,098.65.
Support.
Motion made and supported. And again, as noted, this is within the budget that was established for the project. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you again, Mr. Fish.
Thank you. Thank you.
Item 6.6 is approval of a dishwasher at Sashabaw Middle School. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approve the quote from Stafford Smith for Sashabaw Middle School in the amount of $49,923 with a recommended allowance and contingency of $20,000. This is to cover any electrical, plumbing, demolition, and restoration to allow for the new equipment for a total recommendation of $69,923.
Motion made and supported. Mr. Stevenson is here. If there are any questions on this, and by the way, thank you for the material which you provided for the teacher tenure reception. It was delicious, as always. Any questions or comments on the dishwasher purchase? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.7, our annual approval or disapproval of the Oakland Schools budget. Again, this is required by the revised school code. The Oakland Schools is required to submit its general fund operating budget to its constituent districts, who may then pass a resolution in support or opposing it with any comments, all of which does not need to be heeded by Oakland Schools. So with that, we do need a motion to either approve or disapprove the Oakland Schools General Fund Operating Budget for 2024-25. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Clarkston Community Schools Board of Education approves the attached resolution for the Oakland Schools 2024-25 General Fund Operating Budget as submitted.
To approve the budget.
Correct.
Okay. Is there support?
Support.
Motion made and supported. Any discussion, questions or discussion?
I would be remiss if I didn't make my annual comment that I think this is ridiculous that we have to do this. We elect board members, which is the next item on our agenda, to represent us and actually understand and dive into this budget. It would be impossible for us to have a detailed enough read to accurately weigh in on this. You know, if we don't like what Oakland Schools is doing, we have plenty of lines of communications to rectify that without wasting our time with this resolution.
Well said, Mr. Heyer. And Mrs. Eakin is our representative to Oakland Schools, but she decided not to be here tonight. Probably a wise move. So I'm just kidding. She had a work commitment. She did have a work commitment. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
I have to do a roll call.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Thank you, Mrs. McLean. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Heyer.
Yes.
Mrs. Love.
No?
Mrs. Crane.
Yes.
Mrs. Egan. Mrs. Sivers.
Yes.
Mrs. McGinnis.
Yes.
Mr. Need.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.8 is a resolution regarding the candidates for the Oakland Schools Board of Education. As Mr. Heyer mentioned a moment ago, there are 2 seats open on the Oakland Schools Board of Education. Each constituent district will pass a resolution designating someone to cast our vote on June 3rd and the candidate or candidates for whom we wish to vote. So there is a resolution in the board packet for your consideration. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education affirms their support for the 2 candidates that I'll name for a 6-year term on the Oakland Schools Board of Education and designate our board member to cast the ballot for candidates Mark Katz and Carol Finkelstein.
Can I have one small amendment that we designate Mrs. McLean as our representative? And not
Friendly amendment is approved.
Is there support?
Support.
Any questions or discussion?
Discussion, please.
Mrs. McGinnis.
President Need, of the 4 candidates here, the 2 that I named off, Carol Finkelstein and Mark Katz, are significant senior board members in our communities, Oakland County for many years, Mark Katz from Berkeley and Carol Finkelstein from West Bloomfield. I really appreciate the offering of the additional 2 candidates, which I believe are probably public at large, which is not a very common thing for people to put themselves out there. Greatly appreciate them submitting their name and their names for consideration for this position. And I hope that they continue to pursue being part of our school community in the future.
Thank you, Mrs. McGinnis.
I would
Mrs.
just,
Crane.
yes, I would just also like to say I was at the forum in the middle of last week where 3 of the 4 candidates came to do an interview that Oakland County School Board Association put on. I would just echo everything that Mrs. McGinnis said. Both Mark Katz and Carol Finkelstein have been mentors to many, many school board members. I think that their school board experience is very important, which is why I support them as our candidates. Not to say that the other 2 candidates don't offer much as well, and I was very impressed with the other candidate that did show up. And I also hope that he continues to be a part of the public school system. So.
Thank you, Mrs. Crane. Anything else? All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Roll call also.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
All right, I'll get it right one of these days.
No problem.
Mrs. McLean, can we have a roll call on
Yes.
this?
Mrs. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mrs. Love?
Yes.
Mrs. Crane?
Yes.
Mrs. Sivers?
Yes.
Mr. Heyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Egan? Mr. Need?
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Item 6.9 is approval of the resolution regarding the purchase, installment purchase agreement for our buses. May I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the resolution regarding bus installment purchase agreement.
Support.
As presented,
As presented.
motion is made and supported. This is for 14 new school buses from Hoekstra Transportation. The amount not to exceed $2,012,318 as presented. Any questions or discussion?
Dr. Ryan, is there hope in here to align doing all of them at once, or is the stagger now what we're sort of going for? We sort of staggered based on necessity. Is that something we want to continue because it's a good thing for us, or are we going to look to consolidate all in one purchase every 3 years?
Mr. Goodman kind of address that question.
If you recall, the last purchase, Hoekstra asked to extend the lease on the 77 passenger, and now we are leasing those for 5 years versus the 3. So there will be a stagger based on the size of the buses.
And is that to our benefit going forward, or does it make sense to increase the volume of our purchase and get them back on the same schedule?
There isn't really any benefit to the cost. They struggled with the lease after a 3-year term versus 5. We're watching it as far as our mechanics. Our one mechanic is, just how much more maintenance is that bus going to need over the next 2 years versus they're pretty maintenance friendly, free under warranty on the first 3. So we'll continue to watch that with Hoekstra, but that was the best recommendation, was really the 77 passenger buses going 5 years, which the smaller buses are a 3-year. Those still work out well.
And Mr. Goodman, just to refresh, earlier this year we did an evaluation of some different purchasing and leasing modalities, benefit cost towards the school district, and we still settled back that this right now is our most cost-effective way to manage it. I see Ms. Rogers nodding her head as well.
Yeah.
Just as a quick
we did
recap, because I know
change
that
some
was
of
a
the sizes
question,
of the
and it was
buses.
important for me to make sure that our community knew that we looked into that as well.
Yeah, we reduced the fleet by 2 buses, and I'm sorry I don't have the size, passenger size. They're pretty liberal on that anyway. But
54 and 76.
the fleet is reduced by 2, and we went a little bit bigger. So there's a small bus, a medium-sized bus, and a long bus, so to speak. And so we're hoping to be more efficient with the mid-sized bus, and we're certainly always looking for drivers. So having the ability to operate with 2 less drivers just is a benefit for us as well. And there's no layoffs due to that. It's just we always have openings, so no one's losing their job with that reduction. But yeah, that still stands. We kind of had the team look at what's the most efficient way to operate, and that's when it's a good opportunity when a lease comes up to not just do what we've always done, but relook at it, and that was our decision back.
And I believe it also has some flexibility as we had moved based on Mr. Lucido and the team being able to everybody bring new drivers aboard, that we've stuck out there as kind of an exception to the rule when it came to overall efficiency of our transportation system and runtime and reliability, but also looking at movement, where we take community feedback on items like the combination of our middle school and high school runs and other things where we've added that element where this also kind of works for us to continue to be able to have that flexibility as well.
That's correct, yes.
But thank you.
Yeah, we'll have that flexibility and hopefully just improve on it, more reliability.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, 3rd one in a row. I'm going to get this one right. Mrs. McLean, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Mrs. Crane.
Yes.
Mr. Heyer.
Yes.
Mrs. McGinnis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sivers.
Yes.
Mrs. Love.
Yes.
Mrs. Egan. Mr. Need.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Our last action item, item 6.10, approval of the tax rate. We did have the statutorily required public hearing earlier this evening. Now the tax rate request is before us for action. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the 2024 tax rate request as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Mrs. Rogers is here. If anybody has any further questions.
When are we going to renew the 18/2025 that we have? Like, does it make sense to look at the existing election this year versus our own election next year?
With the Headley rollbacks, Mr. Rogers, can you come up and just give your impression of the cycle that we should utilize to stay ahead of the Headley?
Like which election are we
12, 30,
targeting?
25, yeah. Your entire non-homestead's going to have to be approved. It'll become one in now, and then you'll have to pick up. Yeah, they'll both expire.
Do we have to go in 2025, or can we go in 2024?
You can go anytime you want, I'm pretty sure. I could get a schedule from the attorneys.
Because I think there's no election scheduled next year, and so we'd have to pay for the cost of an election.
I would say you'd want to you would definitely want to try to piggyback on an election.
Right. So that would be November, which is coming up in about 6-8 weeks, something like that is the filing deadline. So that would be approximately when we'd have to have it for that. But I think we could renew the entire 25 for 10 years. Going forward. So I would say we might as well jump on that.
I'll reach out to Truman and get the best election date and schedule and get back with you on that.
Great. Thank you.
It would also give us multiple chances just in case.
Right.
Have you had special elections before? Just for this?
When needed.
Not in a long time.
We've done an excellent job as a team and the board to avoid that. Though.
Yeah, it's an every 10-year thing is how we've done it. And so, if you think 10 years ago we were on this plan, but the 10 years before that we had a completely different election scene, in the state where there were elections every year. Now there aren't. So I think we're on an odd year because of historically when we've done it, like that doesn't make any sense for this to be on an odd year when the elections are in even years.
Yeah, it's very costly.
Right. We want to avoid that.
So Dr. Ryan, you can check and we can figure out the deadline to get,
Yep.
if you wanted to put something.
Ms.
on the
Rogers will help me with
November
Ms.
ballot.
McLean, and we'll put that in the week in review this week.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heyer. Any other questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item 7.1, our one report item, our monthly finance report. Mrs. Rogers, you're busy this evening.
We'll be busy next month here probably too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the financial update. This is March and April. This does include the amended budget now that you approved in March. This is in this packet that I sent you. And budget to actual revenue, you're just at about 70%. And your budget to actual expenditures, you're at about 70%. So we're doing very well. Right now we're heading better than our amended budget, I think. And the fund equity as of April 30th is 24 million, and as of June 30th, the audited was 25. So, but that 24 will go up as we book more revenue the rest of the year and over the summer. So, and you were given all the check registers and all the information in March and April if you have any questions.
Any questions for Mrs. Rogers? Okay, thank you very much.
Yep, thanks.
We have no discussion items this evening. Item 9 is the second opportunity for citizen comment. Are there any citizens that wish to address the board at this time?
I don't believe we have any
I don't
citizens.
believe we have anybody. Okay. Information items. Item 10.1, Dr. Ryan alluded to this earlier, but Sunday, May 19th, at the Clarkston High School PAC at 3 p.m. is the special farewell concert for choir concert for Mike Peterson, celebrating his retirement after 30 years of great service for Clarkston Community Schools. So anybody that can make it, please do so. Our next Board of Education meeting is a week from tonight, Monday, May 20th at 5 p.m. We will meet at the junior high school for the groundbreaking ceremony, and then we will stay at the junior high for a workshop that Mrs. Mahoney is preparing on elementary literacy. Any other information items? Hearing none. Item 11 is adjournment. May I have a motion, please?
I move to adjourn.
Support.
Let's not delay that one. All those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody.
Great meeting, team.